increasingly desperate efforts to get water into Japan's overheating nuclear reactors. A growing food crisis for tens of thousands of people forced into evacuation centers in freezing conditions. Airstrikes against Libya imminent after the United Nations approves a no-fly zone. And the federal government speeds up the transfer of asylum seekers from Christmas Island in the wake of the latest violence. Good evening, Kathy Novak with SBS World News Australia. The race to cool reactors at Japan's stricken nuclear plant has moved into high gear tonight. Fire trucks have been dumping tons of water on the overheating fuel rods at Fukushima. Well, let's go straight to our senior correspondent, Brian Thomson in Tokyo. So, Brian, have those fire trucks made much of a difference?
Well, Kathy, the International Atomic Energy Agency says the situation tonight at the plant is serious but stable. Those water trucks do appear to be making a difference, but the best hope still rests with the efforts to restore power to the plant. If they can do that, then they should be able to switch to get the facility's water pumps back on.
A close-up look at Fukushima's crippled power station. It reveals a glimpse of just how dire things are. Here is reactor number 4. A gaping hole reveals a green structure that sits over the critical spent fuel rod pool, now exposed to the open air. There's growing global concern that water in the cooling pool is desperately low, if there's any left at all.
Unit 4 in particular remains a major safety concern. No information is available on the level of water in the spent fuel pond.
Without water, the rods will ignite, sending radioactive material spewing into the air.
We are extremely worried about that. The reason we're worried about that is there is a substantial volume of material there, and that this, once open to the air and starting to heat up, can start to emit significant amounts of radiation.
But Japanese authorities point to reactor number 3, wrecked and billowing steam. They say it's evidence of water still in the cooling pools.
That means that the spent fuel storage pool has water, but the amount of the water hasn't been confirmed.
As well as deploying water cannon to assist in the cooling process, authorities are desperately racing to restore power to the plant to get the normal cooling systems back online. The situation at the plant of serious concern to Australian expats who have decided to remain here. Mike Sheetal has already sent his wife and daughter to the south of the country. He's been here for 9 years and is heartbroken by the events of the last week.
So, this is a place that is my home now, and I'm getting told to leave. It's a bit of a sad thing.
More and more foreign governments are now advising their nationals to get out of Japan, at least for the time being. But for those who live and work here, it's not just a case of catching a cab to the airport. In order to get back in, they must apply for a re-entry visa before they leave. And that's what these expats are doing. Thousands of them. The queue goes on for blocks and blocks, more than a kilometre long. There are at least 7,000 people in it.
I have a small child who's 2 years old, so I'm quite worried about the situation now.
Yeah, I'm scared. Of course, I'm scared.
And still, they keep on coming. Busloads arriving every 10 minutes. An exodus of staggering proportions.
So, Brian, what's the latest? Are they any nearer to restoring power at the plant?
Well, Kathy, the cable has been laid, but power has not been restored yet. The plan is to try and get power to reactors number 1 and 2. They're in a slightly better situation than reactors 3 and 4. If they can get the power to 1 and 2, then they move on to 3 and 4. I can tell you that they have managed to get a diesel generator operating tonight, and that has managed to restore power to 5 and 6. So progress is being made, and international help is now on its way. Britain and France are sending 100 tons of boric acid, which helps to absorb radiation. They're also looking at the possibility, in a worst-case scenario, of encasing these reactors in concrete, which is exactly what the authorities in Ukraine did after the Chernobyl accident in 1986. Kathy?
And Brian, we saw in your report there that many foreigners are fleeing because they're worried about the radiation levels, but their worries must pale in comparison to those who are actually working at the plant.
180 workers up there, Kathy, risking their lives to save others. Some people have dubbed what they're doing as suicide missions because it's so dangerous up there. In order to limit the risk, the teams are operating in tag teams, going in for 15 minutes at a time and then coming back out. But even that hasn't entirely helped the situation. The IAEA says tonight that 20 of the workers there have had some form of radiation poisoning, and we believe that at least one is seriously ill.
Okay, Brian, thank you. That's our senior correspondent, Brian Thomson, bringing us the latest once again from Tokyo. The official